Okay, now we're going to look at easily the most fun and the most impactful and the most unique part of our approach to becoming literate in Chinese. Now, some of the titles may change in the coming days as this is our platform in development. Let's call this Recyclable Visual Building Blocks. Okay, and in it we're going to use the knowledge we've learned from learning Wang, okay, to learn up to about 80 Chinese characters. So as we go in, what we're doing is now this GU map in the menus here. This is not a very useful functional part of the system at the moment, but it shows the direction we're taking. So we see Wang as the parent of a family tree of visual building blocks that are very, very similar. Either very similar, or you could use Wang to make them much simpler and cognitively memorable. So for example, Wang and Zhen can both be fairly well mistaken within a Chinese character, but you can also leverage the knowledge of Wang to memorize Zhu, and you can use that Zhu to add on a little hopper platform and add Zhen on one side to remember Jue. And so we're making very much sense of, once someone commits to memory these 4 lines, how they can leverage that across the entire writing set of Chinese and make it much, much, much simpler. So back to our map, into our chapter, and back to our recyclable visual building blocks. It looks a little random at the moment, but there's some very deliberate sequencing that's been going on here. And we're just going to watch this info movie just to give us a sense of what we're doing here. Chinese characters function like emojis, but they don't look like the concepts they represent. This is what we're really saying. Look, this is Huan. This means ring or hoop or anything of that. Now, it does not look like that concept whatsoever. So kids can either, or new learners can either memorize this as a completely unique piece of art with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 unique lines of information. So 8 pieces of information. Or they can choose to view it as 2 recyclable visual building blocks. If you can remember the visual building blocks,
My precious.
they're actually remarkably easy to learn. Okay, so what we've done here is develop these 2 visual building blocks, made them as heroes, and now we've worked them into a micro story, and a memorable micro story, and that's what we're. And so to almost remember that King is on the left and Bu is on the right. Now, from a traditional perspective, you wouldn't view this as a Bu because it comes from Huan and Huai, but regardless, in its modern format, this is a Wang and this is a Bu. So why not view them as that? So by making these visual recyclable building blocks standard across the entire written system, every time you see a Bu, it's a Bu. Every time you see a Wang, it's a Wang. And then working this micro story, that's what we're doing here. So activate the characters below. Start with the easy ones. Then use the shuffle and quick review buttons to test your memory before moving on to gameplay. Okay, now this gets a lot of fun. So just to shuffle and show all.
Jade.
Okay.
Jade.
What shuffle does is, if Jade was here, then I can say shuffle, and suddenly Jade is no longer there, and people have to find Jade.
Jade. Jade.
Okay. Now, this quick review button is these last a certain amount of time.
Host. I own everything.
And if after a few moments kids have them down really well, which they will no doubt, what you can do is
Owner or host.
okay, where's Jade? Jade's there.
Jade.
Okay, where is country?
Kingdom or
Where is treasure?
treasure.
Okay, it mutes them and shows all the rest of them. Okay, and then you can shuffle again, obviously. So we have shuffle and quick review. And beside that, we have our different lineups. So in total, we have 11 lineups within Wang, all based around a theme. And there's some very deliberate sequencing going on here. So let's go back to lineup 1. Now, when it comes to gameplay, so it should take kids a couple of minutes to memorize all of these. When it comes to gameplay, this is where things get really fun. Okay, this invaders, you've seen multiplayer, how that functions. So we're just going to go for the demo. Find the characters you've just memorized. Okay, here is Jade.
Jade. Jade.
And then very deliberately is Bao.
Treasure.
And
My
Or.
treasure. Or country. My kingdom, my country.
Here's Zhu.
Owner or host. I own everything.
And very deliberately is Zhu.
Live or stay somewhere. Stationed somewhere.
live here.
Perhaps as a reporter.
Stay.
And then very deliberately is the Ma from Mali.
First syllable of Mary or Maria.
Okay.
Something.
It is
Now-
undoing me.
So once you go multiplayer, obviously you'll understand what happens. The reason for
First syllable of Mary. Stationed.
is to, and the reason there's no pinyin or pronunciation here either, is what we're doing is we're training kids from day one to be hyper focused on what the visual building blocks are, exactly what they are. Is it a Wang or is it a Zhu? And also, what is the orientation of the building blocks? Where do they come within this 2D structure? Was the horse on the left or was the horse on the right? Was the king on the left or was it actually an owner on the right? And so when we get them to hyper focus on this, we're training them to break apart Chinese characters, read the building blocks and look at where those building blocks are. And that's what this entire activities are. Now, this game is incredible. Let's play demo. Okay.
Owner or host.
Have to find the right pipe or I'll die.
Owner
Now
or
this is
host.
demo mode. Okay, boom, there we go. Now in multiplayer, when it's on the kids' devices, this is incredible.
On something.
Okay, here we go.
On something.
This is a lot of fun. Okay, now
First syllable of Mary or Maria.
in multiplayer,
First
what you'll get
syllable of
is
Mary or Maria.
all of the kids following one or two leaders, and you'll get a
First
certain amount
syllable
of
of Mary or Maria.
class discussion
First
on
syllable
on
of Mary
which
or
the correct
Maria.
which one the correct answer is.
Kingdom or country.
Okay, and we'll have a winner. Okay, now that was Arena Knockout. Bash Tag gets really, really interesting. Now I can't play this unless I play with my logged in players. So okay, so what's going to happen is the players will have joysticks and they'll have a jump button, and let's see what the target character is. Everyone's got a character at their head. This guy,
Jade.
Zhu, Yu. Now, Jade. Jade has been announced. Therefore, Jade are attackers. So if Jade. Run into
Jade.
I've got to jump.
Jade.
Jade.
Live or stay somewhere.
Okay, now Peter's the attacker. So all Peter, the idea is that Peter doesn't really know Peter's an
Live
attacker
or stay somewhere.
until all of a sudden Peter is like,
Live
"Oh, I'm the
or
attacker."
stay somewhere.
So what we want to do is create a scenario where
Live or stay
people
somewhere.
are constantly reading the Chinese characters on top of other players' heads to see who is the announced attacker. So they're constantly
Jade.
scanning like Jade is the announced. So it's Jade. So who's the attacker? Who's the attacker? Who's
Jade.
the attacker? And this becomes an awful lot of fun.
Jade.
The potential in this game,
Live or stay
we haven't
somewhere.
fully developed it out yet, but the potential here is incredible. Just to have people
Live or stay somewhere.
reading Chinese characters in a kind of
Live or
stressful
stay
scenario
somewhere.
that simulates kind of real world stresses of language learning.
Live.
Nice, Peter wins. Okay, lovely. So that was Bash Tag. It's a very good game. You just have to see it in action with a bunch of kids. TeamSpeak is very interesting in that I have to create teams. One team. Okay. My word, my kids are gone nuts this morning. Okay. TeamSpeak, the bandidos, and play. Okay. Now, on student devices, they're getting a pop-up. So on one device, I have a Ma, so I have to say Ma, and everyone else has to choose the right panel. I better hold on here.